All right, welcome to the final video of Your Empowered Birth, which is the series where I'm basically sharing every single chapter of my book, Your Empowered Birth, which you can get on Amazon, by the way. So if you do want to support the Empowered Birth movement, most of our proceeds either go to putting food on the table for my kids or creating more programs, getting the message of empowered birth out there, and also going to the birthhousenetwork.com, which is Jenny's site. Jenny, of course, is the empowered mom who basically kicked my butt, became my best friend, told me to get my book out there. She went through the empowered birth system. She was the one that basically was able to prove that even if you have a 15% chance of VBAC success, you can do it. You can do it unassisted in the hospital. Like, she is just like, the things that she has done are just phenomenal. And after that, she created the birthhousenetwork.com. This is also where she shares articles in her blog. So you can go and check out her blog posts. She shares more insights on high risk birth. So you can understand that you can still get the birth you want without fighting, without begging, without compromising, giving up on your birth plan. You can still have a true natural birth, even if you have gestational diabetes or you've been labeled high risk, chronic high blood pressure, even if you had a previous preeclampsia scare or had postpartum preeclampsia. Jenny had all of these things. She had a cesarean with her first baby. She had an induction. So she really understands that area. And what she also has, of course, the Birth House Network is like an Airbnb for birth. So we have a directory. We don't currently have as many properties as we would like, and we will be adding more. But this directory allows you to find those out of hospital birth spaces because we recognize that there was a huge discrepancy in what was available in certain communities where moms want to have a home birth. They want to have more autonomy in their birth, but maybe there's no birth centers available. Maybe the only hospital that they have access to is heavily into interventions and they don't want to birth there. Maybe it's that they happen to be in an area where their home is just too far away from a hospital. Well, having access to these Airbnb style birth suites would allow moms to be able to go and birth closer to a hospital that, if they did need to transfer, would treat them with the respect and give them the autonomy that they really need and provide the services that they really need without derailing their entire birth plan, forcing them into a C-section. So the idea would be, instead of trying to go to a hotel, they would have a birthing suite that they rent out. Instead of trying to rent out a hotel and have to go while in labor, they would just set up shop inside of this birth suite, like an Airbnb style place that they just come in. And when labor starts, they have their home birth, they call the midwife to them and they birth. And then if they need to transfer, they can, and they have that safety net. So again, when you support the empowered birth movement or anything through our other shop, which is Empress Birthworks, which Jenny actually designs t-shirts. This is one of her designs. What this does is it's really allowing for more moms to get that empowered birth experience, because I'm done with birth trauma. I don't think that anyone should have to have limited choices just because of where they happen to be. And I don't believe that just because you're high risk that you have to leave your dignity at the door or give up on your dream birth. In fact, you can have your birth any way you want. And with the empowered birth method, what this has done for moms who've had type 1 diabetes or gestational diabetes, they've been able to birth at home or birth unassisted in the hospital and take their power back. And that's really what the empowered birth method does. So I'm just going to read my final thoughts. I'm also going to share with you a little bit about what programs I have on offer currently, and there will be more in the future. So if you have any questions, if you would like any more support, just email hello@empoweringmomsbirth.com, and either myself or one of my team members, my Empowered Birth ambassadors, will be there to support you. All right, so let's get started. Here are the final thoughts. Congratulations, you did it. You have now laid the groundwork for your empowered birth. You started off with a simple idea of what you wanted for your birth and what that ideal birth can look like. And now it's time to create the map to actually get it. The questions you asked earlier were the building blocks for creating that map. And by now, you should have a clearer idea not only of what you want for your birth, but also what beliefs and fears you need to release, what education you need to get, where you'll be best served to birth in the way that feels right for you, and who you want to support you both from a professional standpoint, as well as on a more intimate and personal level. When you combine what you want with what you need emotionally and mentally, you can see a clearer picture of how it is all put together. For example, if you want a hands-off birth, then you now recognize that the care provider you hire needs to know how to sit on their hands. And if you're planning a hospital birth, then you will also need to choose a facility where the staff can also sit on their hands. You'll also want to educate yourself on physiological birth and even check out resources on free birth, even if you plan to have some backup assistance on hand. Finally, you'll need to make sure your partner is aware of your plans so that they can act as a gatekeeper against anyone who tries to help you before you have even asked for assistance. If you are planning a VBAC, then you know that you're going to have to find a care provider who actually believes in your body's ability to birth. You don't want to have to prove yourself capable of birthing because the very design of birth is that you need to feel relaxed, supported, and safe. Now that you are aware of what you really need to birth your baby, you can do so with confidence. You might be wondering what's next. Well, that's up to you. In fact, there is so much more that you will need to learn as you go through your empowered pregnancy. Even my friend Jenny and I had things to learn, as did the mothers who came before her. That's the lesson I truly wish to pass on to you. You will never know everything there is to know about birth, even if you spend the next 10 years of your life learning it. Your pregnancy and birth will teach you things that will help you understand your body and yourself better. It will also connect you to who this child is, because I have a theory that our children teach us as much as we teach them. That starts before they're even born. Birth is your initiation in becoming the parent for this new child who is coming into the world. It is a rite of passage, and when you reclaim your power, you change the world in a small but profound way. By healing yourself, you heal the women who came before you and the women who will come after you. You break the cycle of fear and mistrust of our bodies and our power when it comes to all areas of our cyclical lives as women. By reclaiming birth, you also reclaim that instinct you have inside of you as a mother, able to know what your child needs and do right by them. You won't be so quick to listen to the outside criticism when you know that what you are doing and how you are raising your kids is how they need to be raised in order to become conscious, loving, empathic human beings. Most importantly, when you stand in your power, you inspire others to do the same. You can be the person who tells the scared new mother, "It's okay, you can do this," when other people tell her that she can't. You can be that voice for your children as they grow up. Remember, they will model what they see. If your goal is to raise your children to be leaders and conscientious role models, rather than blind followers or bullies who seize power only to control others, then this is how you do it. I can promise you one thing: the 5 pillars of empowerment work. In fact, when you use them outside of birth, miracles can happen. Back in 2019, when I first decided to create Empowering Moms and do something with all the knowledge I had gained in the birth community, and that fire broke out, I lost everything. I had also endured years of emotional and verbal abuse and I had few close friends I could safely confide in. And though at the time I had newly separated from my partner, I wound up needing to rely on him again out of survival and because trauma bonds suck. But after that fire, I knew that I could rebuild, and I did. It was similar to what had happened after the birth of my son. I decided that I would not let my circumstances rule me or determine what I was capable of. I wrote the first version of this book in the summer of 2020, when the pandemic shut everything down and women, mostly mothers, were the ones being let go by their employers. I knew that I couldn't rely on anyone to save me, so I saved myself using the same formula I had created in planning my empowered birth, and it worked better than I could have imagined. In the summer of 2021, I left a relationship that I had thought I would never have the courage to fully leave. I built a coaching practice that I had never thought myself capable of creating. I served women and I witnessed miraculous births where the mothers were fully in their power. I watched families heal, and I healed my own as well. That is the true power of this system. It's my greatest gift I can give to you, from one mother to another, from one woman to another. It's the wisdom that generations of wise women used to pass down until the medical system and our patriarchal society saw the money and decided to strip us of that power. When you're scared, you don't question what people are telling you. Ina May Gaskin has said it best. It's easy to scare women. It's even profitable to scare women. But it's not nice, so let's stop it. You may have already recognized that what I've actually shown you is how to think for yourself and decide that you will forge your own path, choose your own way, and trust in your instincts rather than rely on what other people tell you. I have spent this entire book talking about birth, but not once have I actually written the typical what to expect chapter that is common in most books about birth. I haven't even actually told you what to do for certain stages of labor or how to make sure you don't go overdue. That was intentional too. You see, birth is far too complex and unique. When it unfolds on its own, uncontrolled and without fear, it's different every time. You will never birth your child the same way again, even if you have multiple children. One might surprise you and come 2 weeks early. The next could be 2 weeks late. Your third might give no warning signs of labor starting, and you'll suddenly find yourself pushing after a relatively painless sensation that something might be happening. You can happily avoid morning sickness with your first baby and then be sick to your stomach until 16 weeks with your next one. Or it could be the opposite. There is no such thing as normal in birth. Your normal is whatever your pregnancy and birth happens to be when you are trusting your intuition and recognizing whether you actually need someone to step in and fix a problem or whether it's just fear from other people trying to push you into doing what they feel is right. When you trust yourself, you can't go wrong. Even if things don't go exactly as you hoped, the choices were not made for you, and you'll feel better about making them. At least you tried. At least you didn't give in to fear. In essence, I wrote this book to help you examine the way you have been taught to view birth and how you are expected to think and act. I wrote it to show you how every fear, every myth, every misconception out there is all nonsense, meant to keep you from reaching your full potential. But if life were as simple as reading a few books and being free of all of our old fears and learning how to rewire our brains, then the self-help section of the local bookstore would be rendered unnecessary, as we would have figured out life generations ago. I wish it was that simple, and perhaps it is for you. Perhaps this book has changed you in a profound way. Perhaps you are now open and ready to learn all there is to learn right now about birth, and you are ready to take on the system and demand your rights and tell your care provider exactly what you wish to do in your birth and what you will and won't do. Perhaps you've even had your own insights into the material and have budding new ideas of where to go from here. Maybe this book is just the beginning for you. And if that's the case, then I have good news for you. This book is not the be all and end all of my knowledge on this subject. In fact, it's merely a starting point. If I learned anything in my years of doing birth advocacy work, it's that information is ever expanding, and there's always some insight or slight nuance that can change everything. In my signature coaching programs, I not only lay out the groundwork that you just read, but I also utilize the skills, experience, and education I have gained and continue to receive in order to personally walk you through each step and dive deep into each and every part of the puzzle. I have gotten results for clients before I even figured out the full system. And now that I have optimized that system and have a greater understanding of human psychology and systemic oppression, I can better serve my clients and get them to a place of full understanding and realization of their true capabilities. It's not enough to say you want a certain birth. You have to be willing to do the work necessary to get it. I wish someone had told that to me, but I doubt that I would have understood what that meant because I didn't understand the system I was birthing in. I had no framework of the culture of birth, only that people believed it was scary and painful, and that some people could have babies at home, and I only knew that I wanted to be one of those lucky few. But actually knowing what I was up against, I had no idea. I sincerely hope that you will take these tools I've given you and use them fully. But if you would like help, the door is always open for you to join my full program or take advantage of the other resources at empoweringmomsbirth.com. You can also seek out additional resources listed at the end of this book, and make sure you grab your book bonuses at empoweringmomsbirth.com/extras. I will leave you now with these closing words. You are enough. You do not need to be anything other than who you already are. You don't need any fancy credentials behind your name. You don't need to be of a certain body type. And you don't need to have a certain socioeconomic background. You, and only you, are the expert on what is best for your body and your baby. Trust your intuition. Dispel your fears and misconceptions. Open yourself to new information and take charge of your birth. You are not a patient, you are a consumer. Your care provider didn't hire you, you hired them. The system works for you, even if they have an overinflated sense of their own power. The second we all rise up and say enough is enough is the moment when the pillars of the oppressive maternity care system fall down and we can truly have family-centered care where every single participant in the medical structure supports you and you are at the top of the hierarchy of power. When every mother and birthing person comes into their birth knowing they are the decision maker, then the system will change for the better. Until that time, there is advocacy, there is education, there are the 5 pillars of empowered birth, and there is you. I wish you all the best in your empowered birth journey. Happy birth planning. And that's how we end it. So that was your empowered birth. As I said, you can go and get this book off of Amazon. You can learn more about it at empoweringmomsbirth.com/book if you want to share it with other people. But of course, you can also just share this entire playlist of your empowered birth. I am committed to you having an empowered birth. I'm committed to all moms having an empowered birth. All birthing people deserve to have an empowered birth, regardless of socioeconomic status, regardless of sexual orientation, regardless of their size, regardless of any high-risk status. You deserve to have an empowered birth. Everyone deserves to have an empowered birth. We don't need to fight, beg, compromise, give up on our dreams, crumble under the pressure of the medical system, crumble under the pressure of what society says is right for us. A healthy baby is not all that matters. You matter too. And this is really my gift to the world, to you, to every empowered mom that comes after you. And as I said, if you want to support the empowered birth movement, it's as simple as going and getting a copy of Your Empowered Birth, sharing this with others, like, share, subscribe to these videos, pass it on, pay it forward. I have so many free resources over at empoweringmomsbirth.com. I also have courses available. They change depending on what I'm offering at the time. But one of my signature courses is called Your Empowered Birth Workshop. It is based on the free workshop that I taught in 2021. I taught 3 of them. They were all the same, but I was basically going through the process. This is how my client Rebecca found me. This is also what I was teaching Jenny. And when she went through the first Empowered Birth Workshop, she started to think about how she wanted to complain about her previous birth experience. She was healing her trauma. By the second one, we'd already enrolled a couple students, and she was learning even more about true natural birth and creating her birth plan. And she said, I think I do want to try for another one, because it's not fair that I didn't have that birth. I wanted 2 kids, and then I got traumatized, and now it's holding me back. You can read more about that on her website. She wrote a blog post on it, how she healed her trauma, and it's one of her more popular ones. In the end, in September of 2021, we ran another Empowered Birth Workshop. I was already working with Rebecca at one-to-one level. She was already really excited because she was going to be giving birth the next month to her empowered birth baby. And you already heard that story. Her partner caught the baby. She was at home. She took her power back. But in September, she was just really excited. Jenny was thinking, I'm going to move up my timeline. Then by November, Rebecca had her empowered birth. I was sharing that story as I was teaching the Empowered Birth Workshop. And then Jenny was like, I'm pregnant again. And this led to her having her beautiful, empowered, unassisted vaginal birth after cesarean in the hospital. It was incredible what she was able to do. And this is the thing, is that I created the Empowered Birth Workshop. What it does is it helps you understand how to get past your fears. So you have the groundwork now. You know what fears you may need to tackle. Your Empowered Birth Workshop allows you to figure out how to challenge each one of those fears. So you can get out of them in like 5 minutes or less. At the end, there's actually a framework for doing this. Then I go into what true natural birth looks like and how you need to really think about it. I go into the 4 different stages of labor, which are holistic. They are not the typical stages, so you do get the right education. Then day 3, I talk about induction and what you need to do to avoid the induction traps. There's also additional questions that you ask so that you have this framework for making decisions around interventions. You can tune into your intuition. I also give you the framework for the birth plan. It's an overview of the birth plan method. Again, you can go and get that mini course. You just go to empoweringmomsbirth.com/extras. But then in addition to that, you also get the skills of spotting the care provider red flags and a little bit about birth advocacy. And finally, we finish off with a component that wasn't in the original workshop, but was included in the new Empowered Birth Workshop, which is getting your partner's support. And I talk about the 5 different categories of partners and why they say no and how you can work through that. Then I go deeper inside of Your Empowered Birth Academy. So if you go and get the whole package of Your Empowered Birth Academy, it comes with Your Empowered Birth Workshop, or you can just start off with the workshop and decide if you want to go deeper or not. But Your Empowered Birth Academy goes deeper into finding those loopholes. If you really want to have a hands-off, unassisted birth, and you really want to be able to navigate that medical system so they don't derail your birth, maybe you were already screwed over once or twice. The other thing with Your Empowered Birth Academy is I have more fear release techniques I also allow you to understand more about what's going on so you can get really deep into those fears. So no matter what scare tactics the medical system throws on you or what your partner throws at you, you're resourced. The other part of the empowered birth method, we have a 3-pillar of the empowered birth method. In addition to aiming for the true natural birth experience and understanding how birth works and creating that safety net with the 5 pillars of empowered birth, we also go deeper where we face your fears, we have that roadmap, we create that birth vision, and then what we do is we get your partner on board. So once you are fully resourced, then we bring in your partner, and your partner helps you advocate. So there's 3 pieces to your Empowered Birth Academy, which once you've got the Empowered Birth workshop, you're able to go deeper with that. And again, whether you choose to work with me or not at a deeper level, it's all good. I want you to have this empowered birth method. I've put it out there for you. You can keep following this channel, like, share, subscribe, pay it forward, pass it on, because ultimately what this is about is that you need to get past your fear. You need your partner on board. Your partner is a wild card, and you can have everything else working well, but if your partner's afraid or they're one of the 4 categories or even category number 5, which is they're not supportive at all and you need to get out of that relationship. And I have tactics. It's a completely different system and way of doing this, which I teach inside of your Empowered Birth Academy. And once you know that, then you can also have those advocacy skills, which train you up to be able to say to any care provider, I'm not having that induction. I'm not having that C-section. Being able to get them to tell on themselves. All of the things that I've taught in all of my content, but at a deeper level, step by step. There's action steps for you to follow. And this is basically like if I was coaching you without the hefty price tag, because I don't work with everyone anymore. I'm really committed to focusing on my family, especially since I plan to grow my family in the next few years. And I want to create other things as well. Empowered birth is just one component of the 5 pillars of empowerment. There's so much deeper that I can get into. I'm empowering moms to create businesses for themselves, create lives that they truly love. Because when you have an empowered birth, you're an empowered mom for life. No one can take your power away from you again. And you can have the most incredible lifestyle that you could ever ask for. Now, finally, one more thing. Even if you're thinking, well, this is awesome, and, right now I'm not able to invest fully into programs or anything, or maybe money is an issue, I just want to let you know about the Empowered Birth Ambassador program. Now, this program is for anyone who wants to go through the Empowered Birth method, and we take people on based on their needs, what they're really looking for, and not only that, but also are you going to do the work? Because in order to be an empowered mom, you need to do the work. It's a lot of self-study with a little bit of support. And if I'm going to bring you on as an Empowered Birth Ambassador, I want you committed to this empowered birth movement. I want you out there. I want you circulating this message, because I can't reach everyone all at once. I can drop my videos. I can be in the mom groups, and at the same time, I got to sleep. I got to take care of my kids. So I'm really counting on you. If you're finding value in this, if you're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible, and I want to tell the world about it, please do. Please do. And if you do want to be an Empowered Birth Ambassador, then just reach out. hello@empoweringmomsbirth.com. And one of my team members or myself will get back to you. If you want to know more about the other programs, you can reach out to me again, hello@empoweringmomsbirth.com. I can let you know what's currently available, because as I said, the programs themselves are going to evolve. They're going to change as this keeps going, but I really want to circulate this now. And as I said, this video has been recorded back on April 8th, 2024. So if you're watching this a few years in the future, and you're trying to use some of the old links that were there and it's not working, or there's a program that's not available, that's why I'm telling you. Email hello@empoweringmomsbirth.com. Someone will help you. All right? And you can always, always, always find me on social media. You can look up Carly Bondurd, Google me. You'll find something. You'll find some contact information. Empowered Birth will always be here for you in some form. This is part of my legacy. This is why I'm here. I came into the world being fascinated about birth, and my family of origin kept telling me how scary and traumatic it was. It terrified me. It got me to the point thinking I'm never going to have a baby of my own. I'd rather have a C-section and a tummy tuck and be knocked out for it, to then getting pregnant when I was 27 and realizing, no, I want to have a home birth, to going on this journey, recognizing what was really going on in the system, pulling back that curtain, becoming a birth advocate, becoming a coach, becoming a childbirth educator, and helping women to have these beautiful empowered births, and ultimately writing your empowered birth and creating my programs. So thank you so much for watching this far. If you did enjoy this, please pass on the empowered birth message and pass this on to anyone who needs it. I love you. Happy empowered birth planning, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.